Okay,
we're
good.
live.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
And then you can go ahead and start.
All right. I'll kick us off.
Yeah, happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday to 4 people out there. No, I was kidding. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. We're starting up early. But no, we're going to let Shaw kick off the...
Oh, go ahead. You
no,
can
go
start.
ahead. You got it.
All right, you guys. I didn't have anything planned. But
It's just a welcoming thing, right?
Yeah.
Just let them know, hey.
what's up, you guys? If you're tuning in, this is the TeleHmong podcast. I'm your host, Shaw Vu. And today we got my co-host, Jimmy. And we got our special guest, Sai Cedric. Everybody give him a warm welcome.
Hey guys, Sai Cedric Vaj in the house. So I see you.
And we're going to be chilling with Sai. And also, if this is your first time, we pretty much just chill until the 3rd chapter. You can ask questions. And if you have anything you want to throw in there, more than welcome. And we're going to try to do this one, maybe just the 4th chapter, just all Hmong.
It doesn't matter. I think
I mean...
it's just the audience.
Yeah.
I mean, because we have people that don't even speak it.
And we'll go back
So,
and forth on it
yeah.
anyways. Like, here
We'll
and
make
there.
it sure to kind of advocate towards those that don't really speak Hmong. So we'll make it fair enough for you guys to understand. Yeah.
So we'll do
I was
that.
gonna struggle.
No. I mean, we can speak
I
English too.
was
It's
gonna
not a
struggle.
big deal. But
Yeah.
Right.
But just to make it, appealing to the audience.
But I think it'd also be cool to just watch it and then be like, dang, these guys are not speaking English. Like, what's going on here?
But go ahead, Jimmy. I think you wanted to ask Sai.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to jump right into it right away, of course, too, right? So we'll start off how we did earlier, bro. Tell us about how your day was, how are you doing today?
I'm pretty good. I'm actually really, really good. It has been an amazing, amazing year. A lot of challenges and hurdles and blessings.
Yeah.
But so far today was pretty relaxing. Just worked, then came home and did homework. Nothing too big, but
A lot of homework?
yeah. Actually, I finished early, so
Nice.
I try to get a jump start before the next upcoming week. So,
Yeah.
and that just keeps me on track as far as
Okay.
the schedule. But everything has been pretty good. It's been pretty good. Yeah.
What does homework look like for an HR guy? Or if you don't...
You know what? Being in college, I think, it just takes a lot of persistence and a lot of commitment. And you just have to have the integrity to do the work when you don't really want to.
It goes for anything, really.
Yeah, just for
Yeah.
anything. I think because I've been in school full time and I work full time, so it's a challenge.
Yeah.
But I definitely stay committed and I stay focused and I try to avoid being distracted and just procrastinating.
Nice.
I think that's the toughest part,
Yeah.
because there's just so many moments when you just want to go party.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, you still in college, man. Yeah, boy. I was That's cool though. I mean,
But-
like, how do you overcome those things?
You know what? I kind of have to set boundaries for myself because I have so many friends and we love to go out and have a good time. And sometimes that can be really, really enticing.
Yeah.
And it can be kind of seductive. You want to go out there, you want to have a good time, but then there's a time and place for everything. But my education is very important to me. So I set boundaries.
Yes.
I'm free on the weekends, but not during the week.
Yeah.
But yeah.
tough.
But so far it's been pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, man. I mean, I can keep rolling off, so we can go about this college stuff all day. You're in how many years a year now?
This will be my third, actually. That's my third.
Nice,
coming up.
so you almost
yeah.
done.
So yeah, this is my third. I'm doing 2 majors at the same time.
Dang.
So I'm finishing up 1 degree and bouncing right to the next. From my
Nice.
associate's to my bachelor's.
Dang.
So yep.
So I mean, shoot, talk about 2 jobs, man. You might as well be juggling 2 jobs.
Well, but no kids and not married, so I just said let's go.
Yeah, using that energy. Yeah, that's cool. I like it.
No, I appreciate that, bro.
Yeah, man, that's dope. No kids, no wife.
No.
We got a girl.
Uh-oh.
No, chumolonga.
Chumolongo. No.
Yeah, kasi ako chumolonga, tayo mag molon.
Yeah. Hey, we are in the Cupid business
Yeah.
here. We gonna shoot an arrow.
Oh,
We're gonna
yeah.
find someone else for you.
Cupid ni chikala.
Oh, yeah. 私がたちとのもち
well
มุนยานึ no I was kidding
ก็หายแล้วก็
一个属塔呢，个属塔蒙，一个属塔梅加呢。
Oh, Chimera. It's not really about. Well, I can say this: when I first got into the culture of Hmong, a lot of the OGs they really reprehended me to actually ta Hmong zima.
OK，
And because of the culture and the culture dynamic, it was a way for me to kind of blend in, but then also a way for me to have my own individuality as far as, okay, what do you want? It doesn't matter to me. It's more of a harder strike trying to find the one that's going to love you for who you are, despite what color you are, despite what you cannot give them, what you can give them. And I've dated Hmong girls, you know, and it's tough. It's tough. There's a lot of, I would say this, there's a lot to go into dating a Hmong woman compared to other races that I've dated. And I think because I'm so connected to the culture, it's easier for me to blend in. But it wasn't like that at first. It was very, very tough. I think that the pressure was on because they expected me to want to date this specific type of ethnicity. And I was confused. I didn't really know how to actually work that out because my family always told me, yeah, if she loves you, she respects you, then, you know, go ahead and date her. But I think when I got involved with Hmong people, it was so much more than that because of the culture dynamic was so complex.
Yes.
And there's a lot to go into that. So I really had to kind of study. I really had to study internally. And I never took a class to get involved with Hmong people. I never took a class to learn how to speak. You know, I didn't take a class until I was in college. And that was probably my first year in college when I was only 18 years old. And I was already pretty much advanced at that time, you know, and to be around a lot of different Hmong people that didn't really speak their native language, it was kind of weird, you know? And they're like, whoa, you speak Hmong so good.
then they don't even know what you're
Yeah,
saying
and then they don't even know what I'm saying, you know, most of the time. And it's, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I kind of Hmongish, but she, China.
You did that one good.
And people would get so starstruck about that, but I think the biggest baseline for dating Hmong women is that you have to find someone that loves you for you, and that knows how to be a wife, that knows how to love you for you. And I think that's tough, and I'm still looking for that. You know, I'm still looking for that real secure kind of love, you know, and I've been hurt a lot. So I think that it's just a matter of trying to pick the right one. But sometimes I feel like when I pick the right one, she turns out to be completely opposite. And because I'm an artist, it's harder for me to kind of dive into, okay, is this going to be a true foundation of love of what we're trying to build?
Gotcha.
Because of who I am, they expect me to talk Hmong, but I don't really care. It's just now I got into an age right now where it's just like, I would love to, but if it doesn't happen, I'm okay with it, you know? Yeah. Even though I've grown up in this Hmong culture for so long that it has become a part of who I am, it doesn't change my spirituality as far as who I decide to choose, as far as love, marriage, dating. If she loves me, that's all that matters. Yeah.
I think too, like it'd be a little more, because then you got love for the Hmong culture as well. That's
Exactly.
Like pursuing so hard, you know?
Exactly. And I think that's the biggest thing because I have so much love for the Hmong. And I respect the culture so much that I couldn't imagine myself not being a part of it, you know? And even dating a different race, like, okay, I'm saying if I was to date a different race, you would have to get involved with what I grew up with because I'm not leaving my Hmong half, period.
Yeah.
It's a part of who I am. So that's just how it is. That's just how it is. I love African American culture, but if I was to date outside my race or outside the Hmong, you would have to be able to transition into what I grew up with, you know?
Yeah.
And if you can't do that, we're going to have a serious problem.
I mean, hey, you never know. There might be another one out there, you know, a white girl or something out there knows how to talk like straight up Hmong. Or, I mean, too, I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there, of course. Thailand.
I mean, more blotte that shit. I mean, that's an option too.
Yeah,
you know,
you could just be Takashi all night, you know.
I mean, that's an option too. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's tempting.
The thing is too, like when my brother said to my cousins, because my dad is always like pushing them, like, hey, I can go get, because then he used to do like missionary work.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So
Yeah.
he knows a good group of good women, So it's like he's like, I think you guys would be good souls for these kids over here too, and whatever this and this. And then my brother was like, you should just talk to them, work your game, try something, like it never hurts.
Yeah, ก็หาลูกค้าสินะ
Yeah, Takashi said
Jimmy ก็ kind of ขยับไปถามลูกค้าสิเหรอ ก็หาย
ใคร
นะ
Oh man, my fiance gonna be so pissed, bro.
Oh, how did you get her?
Sorry, right. Well, I didn't really talk Hmong Kaji to my fiance.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, I always hear the OGs, the OGs,
okay.
they'll be Takashi,
Yeah. หาลูกค้าสิจะเป็นหรอ
เจ๊
So
อย่า
they'll
ไป
be
สั่ง
like,
นอน
oh, Johnny, AJ, 想读了 Right?
Oh, I guess.
Come on. And then, like, even in the movies, they be, Takashi to the girls, and they be like, oh. Like,
อ๋อตัวรู้นะก็ชิปาก็ลูกเต้นะเนี่ยก็ชิญญาดอกกูเต้ตัวชิมก็ยังไงขวดเช็ดเต้ว่าจะก็ให้ชินเนาะ
oh, man.
That was better than Jimmy.
Oh, yeah, for sure. 10 times. I could not Kaji it, man. That's funny. That's good, though. Like, honestly, just from right there, I already imagine making a movie, start acting right here.
It's possible.
Shit, I'll make the movie. Fuck it.
Yeah. Hey, Mo Lee's coming back, and he might be coming back. So
Dude, that's amazing, man.
Hey, we
Like I
said
said,
we gonna talk.
there's always opportunity for that. I mean, I love, especially for actors. Mga, when I started growing up in the culture, watching Hmong movie was so different. It was so different, and at that time, I didn't even know what the hell I was even listening to because I didn't speak Hmong at that time.
Yeah.
And so I remember watching a Hmong movie. I think I was Shane Shaw.
Oh, shit. Okay.
And Shahid the movie Pada, right?
Yeah, straight up.
So then I'm watching this movie, and I remember my friend's mom or something like that, a relative came over, and then she was talking, and I didn't really know what she was saying because at that time, right? So then she would, now I can translate it because I know what she was saying now. But basically, she was like, "What's up? And what the kid on the Shannon Wong movie? What's up? The Shannon Wong movie? Hi, it was just so different for them because they never saw that. And it was my first, well, it wasn't my first movie, but it was my first time actually sitting down and watching a Hmong Poda movie, And I got freaked out.
I bet you did. And you didn't even know what's going on.
I didn't know what's going on. And so,
Have you seen the movie?
No, I haven't seen that. But a lot of like Hmong Para movies are scary.
yeah, and then
That one of the scariest.
Yeah, man, that
I'm
brings
pretty sure
back
I've seen snippets.
memories, dude. And it's actually Hmong movie is just how I actually started to learn how to read and write.
Nice.
It was because Hmong movie.
Really?
Wow,
That's great.
That's how, and then I started teaching myself how to read and write, and then it's because of that. That's how I learned how to transition from there. Wow. Speaking was a little bit more different because I think that Hmong, and people ask me this all the time, like, how do you speak Hmong? Well, we break it down. To the core of Hmong language, it's only about two things: tone, pronunciation. Talk halo chimeng, at the same time, you speak with a dialect. Your accent will come later, because at that time, accent, then the accent came. But then whenever I say a word and my boy like, no, you have to say it like this.
Yeah.
And then that's how I did it. And so the more it came naturally. So what you need to think?
That is that could be a career path too. Just teach Hmong on the side, you know.
Well, I think working as a translator back then, I think I'm done.
Oh, really? Damn. I got you.
Because I was when I worked at Regents Hospital, I translated. Wow. So, and I was at that time I was a patient financial counselor for Regents, and I was the only one in that group that spoke Hmong. And so, and it's funny because I actually worked with the person who was Hmong, and she didn't even speak it.
I'm just kidding.
Come on. And it was so funny because she was like, she would call me. It's like, oh, can you go translate for? I was like, like, no, I don't know how to do it. I was like, all right, I got it. And so when I go up to like the rooms for patients, they would see me, and then when I would start go Harawa, they get shocked because they're like, what? What did you just say? And then okay. And then they'd be so starstruck, like, oh my God. And then because in Hmong, we have over 1,000 words or something like that. But then if you but there's certain words that it's not in the Hmong language. Yeah. So then we have to kind of say it the Hmong way.
The Hmong.
The Hmong. To make it more simple.
Yeah.
Especially for right? And I think that's the challenge. But yeah, Hmong is all about tone of pronunciation. If you got those two down, you're going to be fine. Yeah.
Sorry to... Oh,
okay, just put it over there. No. Go put it over there. Press it. Put it on the table.
Yeah. And I think that's the foundation of Hmong. It's just when you, like any language, especially because for me, and people don't know this, I was learning Spanish before I learned Hmong. Dang. So, so when I learned Hmong, my Hmong took over my Spanish. So I forgot all that.
You got the bad words.
Actually, no. I started separate. I didn't learn the bad words until after. Yeah, I learned the bad words later down the road. And so, like for me, I didn't learn how to break it up. I had to learn full sentences and break it apart. Yeah, I never got a chance like how people would learn a second language. They'd be like, "Oh, I'm gonna learn like or 1, 2, 3, I love you," or something like that. But I had to learn full sentences and then be able to break it down later. Dang. And that was a harder transition for me.
Yeah.
But I was dedicated. And I remember being 13 and getting into the culture. And I've been in the culture for almost 20 years now. So being 13 and I just felt like I needed to study. I needed to learn about the culture, the history of Hmong, the sacrifice, the challenge, the root of where Hmong people came from. So when I was 13, I went to a library and I just printed out all these books about Hmong culture.
Dang. Wow.
So many books.
You still got a bunch of them?
Dude.
Damn.
I'm going to need some of that stuff, man.
That pay attention. The people are watching right now. Pay attention.
And I remember...
Oh,
sorry.
Uh-oh.
You good?
Yeah, he didn't see that.
That's why we keep it over here.
And so, yeah, I printed a lot of books about Hmong culture. I just wanted to really learn who they were, who Hmong people really were. And I printed out books about the culture, Ving Pao, way back.
How deep did you get, bro? How way back?
We're talking about like the Ming Dynasty.
The Ming Dynasty.
Just that whole transition. I just wanted to learn and really understand what I was getting myself into.
That's what I'm feeling still right now.
And so when I did that, I was just like, damn, they've been through so much, And at that time, I remember even when I was younger, everyone assumed that Hmong people were Chinese.
Yeah.
Including myself. Because it wasn't a thing. That people just didn't know. It wasn't a race that you would see. Yeah. So we talk with that. Oh, are you Chinese? No, I'm Hmong. I was like, what's that? And that's when I was in middle school or elementary. And everybody assumed that Hmong was Chinese. I didn't know the difference until I got older and then I studied. And then I was like, oh, they're not even the same.
Tell
Their
them.
background is similar, but they're not even the same.
Yeah.
And then I think for those who don't know is that the history of the Hmong people, and I can go on forever about that.
Oh, yeah. No.
I'm not even going to get into it like that. But
we got time.
For me, the history about the Hmong people, what cultivated me so much and what really intrigued me is the struggle and also the sacrifice, but also the need to want to be understood. I think that that's the biggest thing. I think that Hmong is a culture that is so underrated, and people don't understand the length of what it actually holds or what it contains. For me, I wasn't expecting the Hmong culture to take over my life like it did, but it changed me. It made me see a different side of where I was coming from, how I grew up. And back then, when I got into the culture, and I talk about this in my book, that's another thing we're going to get to. And I talk about it in my book about the struggle between trying to balance my own culture and trying to embrace this new culture that I was introduced to at a young age. And that was a hard transition because the more I got into the culture, the more I got hate because of it, on both sides, from my African American people to my Hmong people. It's just, I had to find the balance. And that was a very, very hard transition. And I was alone. Nobody could really understand what I was going through because at that time, it just wasn't a thing for a different culture to get into Hmong, especially a Black person to get into the culture. So to break that barrier, that took a lot of time, a lot of years. It wasn't until 2006 when I performed at the New Year. That's when things changed.
They're like, oh, hold on now.
That's when that made history. I think that was like the 30-something second or 34th anniversary.
I remember seeing it.
And so that was 2006, and I was 16 years old.
Let's just put it there, honey.
I was 16 years old.
Just put it over there.
And doing something that was going to be culturally explicit, and that was going to be a movement. I didn't know it at the time. I just loved to sing. But I'm 16. I've never performed in front of a crowd like that, ever.
You were 16 at the time?
Yeah, I was only 16 years old. I was just a sophomore in high
Did you see that video?
Yeah.
You did see it? I think everybody saw it.
Yeah.
And I just remember at that time, we didn't have social media. I think we had YouTube had just started,
Yep.
and, at that time you could watch anything without ads.
That's true.
Remember those days?
Oh, the good old YouTube.
And I just remember that when I decided to do that performance, and I go deep about it in my book, but to give you the short version, when I got on stage, it got so quiet. The whole room got really, really quiet, and I just kind of froze. And I remember closing my eyes, and like, I swear to God, if Kutochi Minji, I was like, I was like gonna peel myself, like seriously, because I was just like, I was nervous and I was shaking. And it got so quiet, and everybody was just looking like, who is this guy? And so what I didn't know is that at that time, I didn't know there was two sections on the Hmong New Year from the River Center. I didn't know they had the big screen facing on the front end.
Yep.
So when I finished my song, I went back to the front where the entrance part, and then everybody swarmed around me. I'm like, whoa, what's going on? What's going on? I'm like, what did I do? And then it was like giving me flowers, and they're like, oh my God, I can't believe you did this. And you're so famous, you're so cool. I'm like, I wasn't even out there at that time. I was just still trying to get my feet wet into the culture. But I knew that I wanted to do something that was going to be monumental, but it's going to be a memorable thing, It just never happened. It never been done before.
Yep.
And so that changed history for the Hmong people. And I think that kind of opened up doors for them to start getting more used to different races coming in. But I knew I had a lot of ground to cover. And it's funny because what people don't know is that the second day that you see on YouTube, that's just the second day. That's not the song that broke it. It was Shooting Star from Paradise, the first day that broke it.
Because the song I saw you sing was...
that was It's Okay.
The players, right?
It's okay. That's the second day. So the first day I sung, the very first song I ever learned was Paradise Shooting Star.
Okay.
Yep. They're actually the reason how I got into singing in Hmong, because of them. They're like my idols, And I remember learning that song and going live to perform it. And at that time, we had a YouTube. We had no karaoke Hmong. You kind of had to sing over the voice, and I hated that because we didn't have the karaoke.
They didn't think you was singing.
Yeah, they didn't think I was singing.
Yeah.
And see, I'm a live singer, and I hated singing over the voice. I hated that. I hated because I'm not a lip singer. I sing live, and that it cringed. It made me really cringe. And I remember the second day when I came back to do Jing Chui It's Okay from the players.
Yep.
My voice cracked for the first time. So at the end, when I hit the high note, it went, "Ah!" And I was like, oh my God, dude. And I knew I cracked. I was like, oh man.
I didn't hear it, though.
Yeah,
I
if
never
you really watch it, you're going to hear that crack.
Now.
I couldn't even tell.
And it's funny too, because the reason why my voice cracked is because number one, I wasn't used to going high. with my vocal, and 2, I was still transitioning and getting a deeper tone as a man, so still going through that whole puberty kind of stage. 16, my voice is still coming in, So yeah, I did crack, and I don't watch that video anymore.
I don't think anybody watches their old stuff no more.
But I was 16, and it was my Hmong family who's very close to me. Shout out to them. They're the ones who gave me the Hmong clothes for that performance.
Okay.
And I remember that was my first time wearing Hmong clothes, and it was heavy as hell.
Yeah, it is heavy.
It was not very comfortable for me. So I was like, yeah, dude, this is like really heavy, bro.
You were sweating?
Dude, I was sweating. I was like sweating like that. It's like these clothes are heavy as hell.
Yeah.
And it's hard to take off too because you got to take that off. You got to take that off.
They wear that shit in Thailand, in the homeland.
Oh, yeah.
And it's funny too because when I think about those moments, those pivotal moments when I started, there's so much history that I went through to get to this point. You know what I'm saying? And I just remember all the people in my life that were involved at those times, and all the people that weren't. And now that we have this younger generation coming out, and they're wanting to say, "Oh my God, we can't! I've been waiting to meet you."
Fanboy,
it is so weird because I'm not about the hype, and I don't like to be in the spotlight. So I'm just being real honest with you guys. So I do it for my fans, but I'm a very loving person, and I love to be a part of just everyone, but I don't like to be the center of attention. It kind of bothers me. So when I'm around you guys, I'm just like normal. Like, you want to drink? Let's drink.
Let's drink.
Go Let's see. You already got it started. No.
So, Sai, we're gonna take a break.
Yeah.
Let's take a break, and then we'll come back, and we'll continue chapter 2. Okay.
All right.
So you guys, viewers, you guys can stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Alrighty, guys.
Well, thank you, Jimmy.
Yep. We toasted one. Well, we finished the other one finally. We'll toast one more to start her off here.
Yeah, cheers.
Sure.
Yeah.
Hello, speech about
Okay, kumahala.
Alam mo?
Cho mình tôi hồng bia chú tôi khó của chúng mình từ hồng bia chú.
Yeah.
Just say that quick. So,
Facts.
Thanks.
Cheers.
Yeah. Oh, so yeah, what were we talking about before the break?
We're talking about Sai singing.
Oh yeah, how that got started.
Would you prefer Sai or Cedric or Cedric? Is it?
How did you get Sai?
Yeah.
I knew he was gonna ask that.
Hello.
So,
I'm on the podcast. I'll call you back. Hey, bye. Sorry, my sister.
okay. I thought I got the
She watching. She watching.
She's making sure you're here.
Making sure I ain't talking that shit.
That's the Hmong women's for you. Yeah. Don't worry, my wife's watching too.
She definitely watching. But no.
Yeah, but go ahead.
Yeah, so Cedric is my Mika name, but I got Sai because as I was getting involved into the culture, the OGs kept asking me why I don't have a Hmong name. And I didn't really have an answer for that. It was never something I thought about. It wasn't until I hit about 14 or 15 that's when it really started to become a repetitive question.
Dang.
Yeah.
Like that, what's up, though? What's up, chip mong bear? What's up, like, I don't know.
Cái mốc của này.
Okay. Comment that.
Go Ming.
Cái chuyện gì của mình?
No, I love comment.
Oh.
And I'll talk about that too. But basically, when it got to the point of, the OGs would question me why I have a Hmong name and have I ever thought about one. And I said, well, I went home. I had a book, 1,000 Hmong names.
1,000 Hmong names.
For like guys and girls, so that I was just reading through them and just kind of just figuring out what could actually fit my type of characteristic. And I went through some interesting ones that I would probably never pick.
Well, you got to give us one of them.
Yes, give us one.
Well, for one, Jotol was not Jotol was not a good name.
Chó tỏ na.
Jotol.
Chỉ là ít tôi chó tỏ. Yo, nó bê yo.
Jotol thế, mày lẽ thế. Chạy lúc vóc kia thế. Lúc vóc kia đó.
You didn't know that. They were a lot of names.
No, it was a lot of names. But no, real talk, I'm just joking. But no, there's a lot of names. I just felt like Sai really, really compelled for me. And it just matched a lot. Now,
Your American name too, almost.
yeah, Sai Cedric. So everybody blends it together. It's like, or you prefer Sai or do you prefer Cedric? And I said, well, it doesn't matter because they're both me. It's just that form it together. Cedric. Nah. But the reason why I had to pick a Hmong name too is because OGs couldn't pronounce my Mika name. It was kind of too hard for them. So they would call me Senje. Or Senje. They just couldn't. So I picked Sai for myself. My last name actually, Yamong Va. Shout out to all the bangs here.
Shout out. Oh, man.
That's my brother right there.
Yeah, shout out to all the bangs here.
Mà vô là ho.
I feel left out here. Right?
Oh, it's okay.
Hey, where's my handshake?
Yeah, so Vang actually, it was a spiritual thing how I got my last name. And it was from my Hmong family. Actually, my Hmong family, they're Hmong Mua. And so shout out to my boy Peng, Tujer. There's so many people in that damn family.
Those are some
I'm gonna have
real
to go
Hmong
through all
names
them.
right
Yeah,
there. I'm just kidding.
Peng, Tunza.
Yeah.
Oh man, there's so many people in that family I love. And it was actually, it was funny because right at the time I was performing for the New Year and I was wearing the Hmong clothes and I remember getting dressed and his dad at the time, and at that time I was still kind of just barely speaking, It took me about 2 years to master it, 2.5 years to master it down. To also to go hello.
Wow.
That's good.
Yeah. It was a
That's
lot.
good. Hey, that's good though, man.
Long as
Because now that's read and write.
It's really hard.
Yeah.
Yin yuan.
That's
It's not easy.
Read and write, right?
I read and write. Yeah. I read and write.
Bao hai. No, I was
Oh,
kidding.
có chọn đó mà.
Bao so.
Okay, chú trai tiếp tục click on it.
Bao so chỉ bao hà read ha.
Oh, okay. Oh, có chụp đó. Chú lấy cha.
Yeah.
Để có click on thôi mà. Cái tiêu phát em đó cái.
Yeah. To the Hmong how do you even say prince?
Có chụp vào print đó.
Chỉ bao.
Sorry.
Tu hot tai.
Tu ta.
Tu hot tai, go bao hà hot tai. Yeah.
Em tu.
I forgot. Okay, yeah. Tu hot tai.
Well,
It's
not easy because if you really think about it, the color red.
Yep.
Right? It could be monkey too.
Yep.
So that's why.
That's why it's all about pronunciation and tone.
Yes.
And hot tai is almost.
Bones. Yep.
See?
I know exactly what.
See?
Yep.
You thought I didn't even
exactly
know what
you're
a
talking
prince would come on now,
Yeah.
bro. I thought it was.
Like I said, it's just the way you use it and
Yeah.
the tone
Yes.
of pronunciation. So
Yeah.
it can. That's the trickiest thing about Hmong is because the words can mean so many different things depending on how you say it. And trust me, I'll tell you a story about that later. But anyway, so my Hmong family at the time, I would remember getting dressed, and their dad, he's a shaman. So he went into my past life, and he actually saw me as Hmong. And he told me a story. He was like, "Yeah, and I go deep about this in the book, but just a kind of a short version. He talked about how your soul got to pass like your Hmong, because your spirit left your body, but it was the block day somewhere in the jungle."
He went back home.
And he Nhớ ốt té đó.
Nhớ ốt té.
Xóm này thì nhớ ốt té. And he talked about that. And for me, it was kind of scary because I don't see those things. And so he saw that. You know, he saw my soul there. And he said the reason why you are black is because your body left your soul and you were reborn into this Kiru body to live your former life. But because of that, you had to relive everything. You had to teach yourself how to read, speak, write. And he said, but back then, so that's how I got my Vang name.
And you know what's crazy? I was going to ask, what is your last name?
Yeah.
Today.
Yeah. Oh, my Nika name?
Yeah.
No, today I was going to ask.
Oh, yeah.
What
So I'm a Vang.
last name?
Hmong spiritual, I'm a Vang.
Wow.
That's how I got that. And it's a deeper side of it, and I'll talk that about in my book. But learning that, and it was funny because Sai was a name I chose for myself.
Yeah.
Sai was a name that he saw me back then. That's what freaked me out because I chose Sai for myself. Yeah. And he was like, Sai was your former last name.
Bro.
So I was like, are you kidding me? You know, I couldn't, I was shocked, dude.
That is cool.
It kind of freaked me out.
It's scary, but that is cool.
But yeah, that was really, really weird because I'm like, I chose Sai for myself. So how did Sai,
even did that?
Before I even knew that my past life, I was Sai. That was my name.
Yeah, that's
and so it's things like that. And that's why I say Hmong shamans are very, very powerful. They can see things that we can't see. You know, they know things that we don't know. Yeah. And being a part in every Hmong culture, every Hmong family, they do shamanism so differently. But at the core, I see the concept of it, you know. But learning that and going through that phase, it shocked me because I had to really understand, okay, I chose Sai for myself, so how is it that I was Sai back then?
Past lives.
And my past life before I even chose the name. And that was just freaky to me.
That is,
and from that day on, I started to believe more of the spiritual side. Okay. And I'm a big believer in resurrection and rebirth. Yeah. I'm a big believer in that. And I think that, you know, when we pass, we don't really pass. We're still here spiritual wise. And we're reborn into something special. I'm a strong believer in that. So,
wow.
But yeah, that's how I got my last name and that's how I got my first name. And it's funny because my Mika last name, people don't know. They really don't know my last name. So when I tell them, and it's spelled E-A-L-Y, so it's actually pronounced Ely.
Okay.
But it's pronounced Ely. And so Cedric Ely. And then people like, oh, we never knew your last name. Because I never go by it, you know, except for like, you know, work and everything. But in Hmong, I just Sai Cedric Vaj. That's how I've always been. That's how people know me as Sai. Yeah. My close boys that I grew up with, they would call me by Cedric, you know, because they're used to that. But a lot of the people that I've grown now, they're so used to saying Sai. So Cedric kind of feels weird saying Cedric. And that's fine. Yeah. I love them both because they're just both me. It's just they're two sides of who I am, you know. Yeah. I remember even earlier on, I never thought in my life choosing an actual last name would make a difference, you know? Yeah. But I wanted to have something that, you know, of course, that people can connect to. Yeah. And I didn't know there were so many Vangs. I didn't know that.
We got one for the past life right here. There's so many of them.
Vangs until I actually got into the culture. I'm like, damn, what?
Now you can't talk to no Vang girls, bro.
Dude, seriously. And that's the thing, too. It really sucked. And this is the thing. So speaking of that, going into that phase And yes, there's a lot of beautiful Hmong Vang girls, but yes, technically I can talk with them, but because I follow the culture so vigorously, I just she's shy.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why I don't do it.
Yeah.
That's why I don't do it. It's not because you do it, you can talk to the Vang girl. It's okay. It's like yeah. I but I think 타즈마, 잠깐 자유로워.
Yeah.
타즈마, 다 나와. 내가 이도 너무 이게 다. No. What you need to go respect the culture ways.
굳이 또 하.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's why I don't want to go towards that step. I respect the culture so much that I fuse myself into that, and I believe in that, and I follow that way.
Yeah.
So for me, 다 몽바 또 somewhat.
Yeah.
주종샤.
Yeah.
It's not good. So that's another thing. So I didn't just adapt into the actual learning how to speak. I adapted to the cultural ways. And I think that that's for anybody that's learning a second language, the best way to actually get involved is to really get involved.
Yeah.
Right.
Learn their cultural ways. Learn how they actually, the way they sit, the way they walk, the way they talk, the way they eat. I remember my first time walking to a Hmong family's house. It was so different. And I talk about this in my book too. I've never had a family greet me with so much presence, and they didn't know who I even was. And I remember walking in, and my friend's mom was like, and I'm like looking at my buddy, like, what did your mom say? She said, come eat. I was like, but your mom doesn't even know who I am. That's just how family are.
Yeah.
We have respect. And I respect that. I respect that a lot. But it was so weird for me because I just never seen that happen. And to walk into a family to be so generous and so offering. And I remember sitting at this table and for me, I just want to eat. No, but there's a way to do it.
Yeah.
There's a way I didn't know the way Hmong people eat. And so I'm just trying to dig into the chicken and just, But then learning their way. And how they eat, how they just scoop rice, how you use your spoon to stuff like that. And
That's the old school.
Yeah,
right
I
there. That's
didn't
that
know.
Old school way.
It was really different for me, and I'm young trying to learn their way, And I remember drinking, and forgive me. I was 15. I've never had a drink in my life until I got into the culture. That was scary for me.
Yeah.
It was very scary for me. I was very young and I was very pressured.
I'm sure you were.
Yeah, very
sure
pressured. I started drinking at 15, and I think that's just the way the culture is. They try to start you early or start you young, and it's funny because my Kedu family, my mom was always like, no, you're too young to be drinking. But my dad was like, oh, let the boy drink. And it was like, I guess. But then for Hmong, I guess they seem that like it's natural, especially for the boys. So I think that at that time, learning the way they drink, especially because I learned Hmong Jai early.
Okay.
Yep, I learned that very early. Hmong Jai, it was tough. It was tough sitting at a table learning how to drink. Take a hot water.
Yep.
Especially got Thai Ochi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pour your stuff like that.
Touch don't know.
Yeah, take a hot mint, take a hot oh,
Yes.
another one.
Yeah.
And learning Hmong Jai early, it really set the tone for me to blend in to the spirituality of how we actually drink. And the reason why, I remember my dad, years back, my Kedo dad, he would he asked, he's like, why do Hmong people drink so much? And I said, the reason why we drink so much, Dad. Now, I didn't say the reason why Hmong people, I said the reason why we drink so much is because, number one, it is a cultural spirituality. It's a traditional thing, but it's also about respect. And it's also about making memories, I didn't really understand the concept of drinking at that time because I was super young. But when I got older, I started to really blend into it. And this came from weddings and funerals and just big I start to study, watch, listen. And then ever since then, majority of every single wedding, I'm always at the table. And then when OG sit by me, they're like, "Oh, Jaka Haro Jong Hea."
Yeah.
He talk like us, you know? And the way I was pouring and doing it, they was like, who taught you Bunja Jai? You guys.
Yeah.
I learned by watching.
Ushai Mesa.
Shai Mesa. I wanted to be involved, you know? I wanted to learn what that was about.
Yeah.
And that helped me a lot to understand, okay, this is the reason why they drink. This is the reason why they pour with this hand. This is the reason why, you know, we have food at the table and there's a time and place for everything. And, you know, we had the Duval or Mekong and, you know, that whole concept. But was it easy? Hell no. It was hard. Dude, there were so many times where I'd pour with the wrong hand, drop with the wrong hand. I got mucky. It was like, there were so many times. And
They're not scared about you.
No, they're not scared at all, dude. And so for me too, because I speak 2 dialects. Yeah, I speak 2 dialects.
Nice.
And so they're different. They drink differently.
Yeah.
And so my boys are scared of that shit. Excuse my language. They're really afraid of that. And I was scared too. But I wanted to learn. You know, I just didn't think that it was going to take over my life like it did, but it really saved me. And that's the title of my book, Hmong Saved Me. It really did.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a title.
It really did.
That's a nice one.
You know, it really did. In so many ways, it taught me about the strength and the livelihood of family and being there for one another and cherishing, you know, the little things in life. You know, and just being a part of something that's going to be monumental and memorable and spiritual and getting in tune. There's just so many things about Hmong culture that I fell in love with. But the core of it was family. Hmong people had a tight family, you know, and it was a big family.
Yeah.
And I'm coming from a family that's like a family size of 5, but I'm coming into a family like, damn, they have 14. Like, damn, that's a lot. Like, I remember walking to my buddies, like, I was like, how many brothers and sisters? Well, we have 10 brothers and 4 sisters. I'm like, God damn. Like, here I am, we're like, oh, it's just me and my 2 other brothers and my little sister or whatever. And he was like, yeah, Hmong people, we were like that. I was like, woo. Your dad and mom must have put on overtime.
Sometimes, hey, man, sometimes, like, you see them pregnant, they pregnant again. What?
Yeah, I'm like, did you just have this? Like, yeah, but it's not enough.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
But yeah, that's kind of how that started, and then ever since then, you know, it's just been a journey. It's been a really righteous journey in this culture, and I just remember there's so many memories, and I remember one day, you know, I didn't even know the difference between Meng Te Ta.
Okay.
Yeah.
Meng Hanta.
Yep, Meng Te Ta, yeah. Da, yeah.
Da. Yeah.
Yeah, Meng He. I didn't know the difference between that when I was drinking, and so I used to say, oh. No. What's the difference? And then when I said that, they gave me another beer. And I did it twice. Yeah. And I didn't know because I was so used to hearing ta as in it's done.
Yeah.
Da.
Yeah,
Exactly. Like you're finished.
Da is pretty much like we say ta like there's no more beer.
There's no more beer.
But Ming is like
you're
the cup is
completely
done.
Yeah. So learning that difference, and that's why I said there's different. It's about how you pronounce, and it's about how your tone and how you use those phrases. I remember too with that when I was learning Hmong. I used to have a difficult time saying like, and I used to say because I couldn't tell the difference. I was like, well, you're saying it wrong. I was like, what? I said and then no,
you're gonna kill me?
You're gonna kill me? I was like, no, I meant you're stupid. He's like, no, okay. Now I see the difference, but that took a while for me to get down. Yeah. And that was actually, I think that was my first. Was that my first battling? No. Yeah, my first bad word. I don't want to say it. But yeah, learning that was a struggle. Trying to get those tones and pronunciations down. Yeah. You know, I think that was the biggest thing. And just hearing, whenever I would say it wrong, my friends would correct me, but they would correct me in a way that I could understand. But I didn't break it up like, or I just wanted to do like, just say it. and then I practice at home on my own. Then I come back, and next minute I know it got so natural for me that I was speaking Hmong so much that I started to forget my English.
It's very
Because
true.
it became a natural thing for me. And so I remember coming home to my mom. It's a funny story. She was in the kitchen cooking. I come home from playing basketball, and she says, "Son, where are you going?" Oh, I said, "Oh, and she's like, "What'd you just say?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm going upstairs. I have a stomach ache." And then it just freaked her out. Now, my intent was not to speak, it was to reply back in English, but my Hmong took over so much, it just came out. And I didn't even notice. I was saying it as if I thought my mom knew what I was saying.
Yeah.
And she was like, "Well, what did you just say?" I was like, yeah. I had to really switch it into English. But that's how it was taking over, because I was speaking Hmong on a daily, that it just became a natural thing for me. And I had to catch myself. Some days I really have to catch myself, and I have to break a barrier between, okay, there's a time and place to speak Hmong, there's a time and place where you just can't do it. And it was pretty crazy, man. It became a very natural thing.
I agree.
But that's because I was so involved into the culture. I wasn't expecting the language to take over my English.
Well, that's usually what happens when people move to, like France or something. They're immersed in it for so long.
Exactly,
It
bro.
just, boom, it's right away now,
Exactly.
They understand it,
It just becomes a natural thing.
Yeah.
You know?
Second nature.
Second nature. That's how it is. And I just think that Hmong is a very unique language, and it's very underrated. And I don't think people really understand the power that it holds in its culture and that type of the way we speak.
Yeah.
Every generation of Hmong, and I think this is for kids, the older adults, and the OGs. Every generation's taught so differently in Hmong families, and I come from I was born, 89, so I grew up in the 90s, so I'm a 90s baby. So seeing a lot of kids now trying to get involved and start learning Hmong, I've inspired some people that want to learn.
Yeah.
Inspired kids that want to learn, and I think that was a very special thing. I'm all about the kids and making sure that they're taken care of.
Yeah.
Right.
But I never thought that I would walk into a family and you're speaking better Hmong than my kids, because I've seen it where I come into a family and their kids don't speak not once in Hmong. But they come out, they reply back in English.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Yeah. The Pumahala.
and then and that's why my friends, like their dad or whatever, they'll just end up speaking English. And I feel like to keep a culture alive, I mean, it's okay to explore, but your native tongue, your native language, that should be honored. That should be honored.
Yep.
I don't think that should be forgotten. And I think that's the downfall of today's generation. They don't cherish their culture enough.
Yeah. Sometimes they're ashamed of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're ashamed of who they are, and you should never be like that. Don't ever be ashamed of who you are, because everybody's individuality is a blessing.
Yeah.
And you should be proud of who you are. You should be proud of where you come from. I'm proud to be an African American, but I'm also proud to be a Hmong African American.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
So,
That's dope,
I
man.
think that alone that shows longevity, bro, and that shows the power of what this culture holds. And I can tell you now, when I got into the culture, what people don't know, and I talk about this in my book, I used to hate Hmong people. Yeah, people didn't know that.
This motherfucker. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, people didn't know that. I talk about that in my book. Yeah, and it's crazy because
Sai, do you mind if we continue this on chapter 3?
yeah,
Okay.
we can.
Yeah. And 3.
Bye. No.
Pausing. We'll see you next episode. No, I was kidding.
All right, so we're gonna take another break. I'll reset the cameras and then we'll continue this. Grab some more pizza.
Man, this is like them YouTube ads. Cut it off right when
Well,
it's good.
that's what we want. Is
Gotta
we want
be
to
kidding
throw
me.
ads in there pretty soon,